What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Coach Ken from Giving It a Try. We are entering week number 15 of 2025. A quick little athlete talk. Again, this is for the coached athletes, and most of them, again, are public and posted on the YouTube channel for just about anybody's benefit. Follow along with us as we progress for the year. And I come up with little topics throughout the week in some short form content. Again, just some notes that I post in my phone as I'm having a conversation with athletes or listening to things or taking classes every week. Where are we at right now, though? We have a few people doing coach athletes doing Lake Placid this year, and they are all going to be entering basically week 6 of a 20-week block and build of specificity towards that race, as well as a good group of people that are going to be doing Muscleman 70.3, and they're all entering about week 3 of 16 in their build. So they are progressing very nicely, and it's hopefully the weather turns and we can start getting some of those rides and runs a little more outdoors in some of the weather that we're going to have closer to race day, because spring is just kind of giving us a little bit of a fight here trying to make it nice. But April showers, right? Hopefully bring May miles outside and we can get after it. A few of the things here that we want to touch base on. This is some time management stuff. It's a chapter, I guess you can say, of one of the classes I'm taking. It was titled, for that week, our class was Art of the Day, fitting it all in. And this was about time management and just how, how the saying goes, everybody has 24 hours in a day. Everybody is busy. I get it. But truthfully, what they dove in on is sometimes that's kind of this belief that we kind of bestow upon ourselves. And when we say it to people, and you just like, people ask something, or you're trying to figure out racing or training, and you're just like, I'm just too busy. Sometimes that's a belief and a mindset state that we are just locked into, thinking that start to finish, as things roll in, family, training, all these things, that like, time is just blocked out. Like there is no more time to fit things in. And if you are at that level of your time management where you really think that I'm just too busy, like, part of it was when they say, you got to add stretching to your routines, you got to add this, all these other factors outside of your endurance training, these big block things where people say, I don't have time. You probably do. There's a few things you can do, just like with your diet. When you want to brush up your diet, you start to log your food. So with the time management stuff, you can also um, do time management skill set exercises. And what that is time management. Write down what you do from start to finish for, say, 3 or 4 days, just like you would your food log. You will inevitably see the pitfalls and the holes that are in there. I can assure you there's times of the day when you're on your screen, on your phone, you're consuming, you're locked in, you go to look something up on your phone, next thing you know, 20 minutes later, you've gone down the rabbit hole. It's sucked you in. It's meant to do that. All the social media platforms, everything out there on the internet is meant to suck you in. Every time you get up there to look for something, you're being targeted. It's just trying to, suck you into the screen time. And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it, trust me. But when I know I have a lot of things to do, I have to balance things. I use calendars, I use to-do lists, I have things set up daily, and I stray away from time to time. And then my time management gets falls back into that gray area. And then I have to rewind again. Like I said, revisiting these big blocks, right? I've said that how many times now. And same thing, I will revisit my time management skills. Same thing with coaching, same things with training. When I start to see the balances off where, hey, maybe I'm into training and I wanted to do more stuff for the coaching side of things, create more content, or if I'm creating more content really into the coaching, taking classes, and my training is kind of like, it's not being, I'm not writing my training out as best as it needs to be. I have to revisit things, and I have to revisit my time management for the week. I'll write out plans, write out things. It's all about fitting it in. And I know we all like to relax a little bit and we have to fit in. And I also build in some of that rest and recovery uh, modalities into my schedule. But the long story short of it is, yes. And one of the things was 6 in 10 adults feel too busy to enjoy life. I guess it really depends on what is your enjoyment. For me, it's just creating, it's interacting with people, it's motivating people. So if I can fill my entire day with that, and that's on the family side as well, that to me, that's my enjoyment in life. So, I guess everything that I do time wise is pushing forward to that portion of what I'm trying to do, and that's enjoy life and be out there. And one of the other key tips that they said was a poor result may not be by lack of effort, but by the lack of time management. So if you're not getting the results, the outputs that you are looking for, again, focus on those inputs, what we're doing, how we're getting into that. And so again, time management, if you have to, break it down, see what you're doing over the course of 3 days, really find those gaps in where you can get in those things that you need to do in order to keep moving forward. And let's look at too as well. I get a lot of, and this was another portion of the class I'm taking, is when you're breaking down your runs and your workouts, and it's more so even on my end, you have interval workouts, you have key run sessions, you're leading into things. Always the question, I get afterwards where I'm like, oh, how'd it go? And they say, X, Y, and Z, and how did I do? That's like, how did I perform? How did I do? How did I do? That's usually the gist of, the reasoning behind your question of it. And it's really, you got to reshift your mindset though on these types of workouts. There's very few key workouts within a training plan for half marathon, half Ironman, where I'm specifically really worried about a certain pace for you to hit. It's more so when we're working towards the end of the plan and some of these key sessions where I do want to see how your heart rate handles certain efforts, longer sustained efforts, because that will help me create a pacing plan for you on race day. Outside of that though, we have paces that we just need to hit or heart rate levels that we need to hit just to get the training effect that we're looking for to continue on and building fitness throughout. So things that I look on is how to appraise a workout or how did somebody perform in a workout is the execution of the workout. And now that's if I had somebody who had to do, say, 5 by 3 minutes, and that was your interval for the run. What I'm concerned about is looking into those intervals, and I usually set a range for the pace. And when I look at the graphs, it's going to give me a gray area of the range. And what I want to see is your effort level right between the middle of the range and consistent on each one. That means you paced it properly. If we see this spike, a peak, and then a valley through the 3 or 4 minute interval that we have, that means you went out too hard and you fell off. Or if we start to see maybe the first 2 sets really fast and the last 2 or 3 sets fall off a bit, that means you didn't pace yourself throughout. Or it could be vice versa. You held back too much on the first couple intervals, really smashed it and went above the pace that you really needed to hit on the last 3. So when I look for the execution of a workout, I'm looking for a good, solid workout from start to finish, obeying the warm-up and the easy sections, the recovery sections, making sure you're slowing down enough on the recovery sections, because that could be a reason why you didn't hit and maintain steady pacing for your intervals. And even that, when you're done with the workout, cool down. Don't worry about what your average pace is overall. Don't worry about the totality of the workout. That is an output. That is the final result. We're looking for the inputs, what you did in each interval, how you performed in each interval, and just making sure that the workout, again, understanding, and it's transformative when you realize this as an athlete, is today's workout is this, and I need to do X, Y, and Z to make sure that workout gets done properly and executed properly. And once you start having that little bit of a mind shift and you're able to understand that these workouts just kind of need to be done the way they are. We're not looking to always do PRs in these workouts. We're not looking to progress and get faster week after week in these intervals. We're looking, because the intervals are probably building on each other, especially if you're in a training plan. You probably, rewind a few weeks back, you probably had a lot shorter intervals, less intervals. Now it's building because you're building fitness. So I don't think that these workouts are like by running them harder or getting PR somewhere in there, a peak in Training Peaks, one of those badges that says, top mile or top 5K for the year, needs to be had week after week as we progress throughout the year. Just to understand what the workout is. It's, again, execution is a lot better than trying to have a top performance in these workouts. I'm actually going to dive in later, a few weeks from now, on how to execute these interval workouts and these tempo sessions so that you can further understand how and what somebody's looking for, what we're looking to get out of these workouts, because I think that'd be very important, because it does fall into that 20% of your 80-20 training, where that 20% we're looking to push a little bit, but we need to be smart about that 20%. And the 80% is very important, but the 20% as well, because we don't visit that portion of the training often. When we do, we want to make sure that we're checking the box in the right way for that. All right, and then the next thing tonight that we got is another talk about motivation. Again, the mindset piece is very big in endurance sports. That's why I like to revisit it. We can talk training all we want, but definitely mindset needs to be there. You will fluctuate, motivation and discipline throughout your training or your journey. And did a good talk on motivation with a few coaches last week, and it was understanding what motivation is. Motivation is from the heart. Is this something that you truly want to do? And what I mean by that is, if you think you're lacking motivation, or you're training, or you're just not feeling it this year versus last year, zoom out and look at the goal that you have placed in front of you. Say you're training for this 70.3. We'll take that for example here. Why are you doing this 70.3? Is it because you love triathlon, you love 70.3s, you like that distance, you like this course, you're trying to perform? Are you trying to perform better than last year? Like, what is the reason for this training for that race? Now, is this something that you wholeheartedly wanted to do, or was this something you wanted to do because a bunch of people are doing it, and you're like, sure, I'll sign up and do it, and now you might be having some of that sign up regret because it wasn't something you truly wanted to do this year? And that's fine. You can still continue on with it. You can still have a great day, enjoy the process, but just understand that throughout the journey towards that race, that specific race, you just might not have that motivation from deep within, because this maybe wasn't something that you wholeheartedly wanted to do or sign up for. And it's that same thing as, and I tell this to newer triathletes a lot, is when you start training with people and you start hooking yourself up into these training groups and you start to see what they've accomplished. They've done 70.3s. You start to see them training for Ironman events. Don't feel obligated to think that you need to do something that other people are doing just because you think you need to do it to fit in with the group. And why is that important is, everyone, what are some big goals that people want to do in endurance? They want to do an Ironman. They want to qualify for Boston. They want to do these things, but is it really something you really want to do from deep down in the heart? Or is it something that you want to do because you've seen other people do it and feel like you need to do that as well? So just remember where that motivation comes from and where that why is. And when you're kind of lacking it throughout training and you're kind of like, man, I just don't understand, what's wrong with me this year? Probably nothing. It's probably not you. It might just be that why, or that reason why you're in that position and that journey for right now. It was really transformative for me over the last couple of years when I started to realize I don't need to do certain things to, solidify my place in endurance sports every year. I'm on my own journey. I have my own things. And when I started to go in those directions of things that were pulling me towards those goals and those ideas and those journeys, was really when the passion and the motivation really opened up inside of me. And because every time I'm on a journey for something, it was because it's something I truly wanted to do. And again, I like throwing in some races there that overlap a little bit, and like, oh, if a bunch of people going to that, all right, maybe it wasn't on my pathway this year, but I can make a left turn or right turn and dive off and do that with you guys, because there is a bigger aspect of this group community thing out there, but it has to kind of align with what your heart really wants, and that's where we're really trying to go with that. So that's the piece for tonight. Real catch up for me on, what's next for me, just to keep everybody in the loop out there, because I do, document a lot of my stuff on the channel here. If you're not one of my coached athletes, or even if you're one of the coached athletes, you're like, I wonder what coach is up to lately. Finished up the 13.1 that we did locally last weekend. Again, was shooting for that sub 130, just missed the official sub 130 time. I was able to get the split of sub 130 on my watch. So I will be doing Long Island half marathon again. Again, looking for a official sub 130 half marathon time. Also have finished up my last long week of training for the Shore to Shore 50K. I've done the 50K distance, I believe 3 times, and the 100K distance once over the last 4 years. And I'm revisiting the 50K distance. There's no 100K this year. And I will be looking to, again, continue progressing in time. Just had a very big data set collection on Saturday, being out there for 20 miles on the trail. And I will look to PR that race, that distance in 2 weeks for my fastest 50K time. So the fast 50K time, then we're going to go to Long Island Half Marathon. We're going to try and do sub 130 there a couple weeks later using our big amount of volume that I've had so far in the year. And then after that, we're going to make a little bit of a shift and a turn, and I'll leave that for another day to discuss where things will go after that, because I want to stay focused from now through basically the beginning of May, the next 4 to 5 weeks, because that's what I really need to lock in for right now. And that's the key to things as well, is planning properly so that you can have these goals. You can be all into these goals without having something else right around the corner that you have to keep kind of preparing for on the side. So I can be all in on these goals right now. I'm excited about that. And you're all going to come along for the journey on that one. So for this week, I just want everybody stay safe, stay healthy, keep balancing that life 1 mile at a time. And I will catch you all on the next one.